You need to get in here, though. Are you going to eat the whole thing? I kind of gave you a lot.
I won't be able to eat all this.
Yeah, I kind of gave you a lot. I was like adding your hunger with my hunger. And like I put it together because I'm like, oh, I'm hungry-ish. And I know Amir's hungry. So I kind of gave you a lot. Oh, there's 7 people in already. Hey, you guys. So we're going to get started in a little bit. We're going to kind of wait for more people to come in. And Amir's eating, so we're going to wait for him to eat. And then we'll go ahead and get started. For those who don't know what's going on, if you didn't read the title, we're going to be talking about fears about parenting and becoming parents. And then at the end, we're going to do a question and answer part. I feel like, is this my... Oh, yeah, it's on. Okay. So I should go ahead and put this inside my Instagram real quick. Real quick, while we wait. Thanks. I actually got this hijab off Amazon. It was really cheap. I got like 4 of them. Or around that. Okay. There we go. How do I share this? 17 people. Okay, Amir, are you almost ready? Copy. This thing is not pasting and it's really bothering me. Okay. Oh, wait. Done. Four, 3, 2, 1. I had this little thing on there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on our fears about becoming parents. Okay. I don't know which one to use. This one's mine. Are you tired?
Man, I'm fucking tired.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Amir went on an 11-mile hike today.
It wasn't a hike. It was a 11-mile run through the mountains. It was like all uphill.
Oh, incline the whole time. Oh my God! Yeah, you have no energy right now.
But we're gonna do this, inshallah.
Okay, hey guys, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kamara.
My name's Amir.
And today we're going to talk about our fears of becoming parents. So this week, I will be 8 months pregnant. So it's like it's ticking. Time is running out, and
inshallah, we're really going to be parents pretty soon.
We're really going to have.
Right now it's like, she's pregnant, but are we parents? Not really. We're just.
I mean, I'm taking care of the baby.
Yeah, you're trying. You're doing your best.
I mean, yeah.
So, inshallah, baby's due June 10th.
June 11th.
June 11th. So, I guess anywhere 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after that, right? It'll be born.
Yeah, between 37 and 42 weeks, basically. Okay.
All right.
Do you want me to go first?
No, I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
The first thing that my fear is that I won't be able to provide a proper Islamic environment. Like I don't want to living in America. If you are too overbearing in your Islam for your child, it'll turn them away. And if you don't give them enough Islam, then they won't be able to actually grasp Islam and really love it as much as you need to get you through life. So I want to try and make sure that I'm able to provide a good balance of Islam, as well as, you know, allowing them to experience the dunya.
Yeah, like finding a balance. I mean, that's what I put on mine too. Like how scary it is to be able to give your child, you know, to teach your child like how to love and like fear Allah in a way that makes them like drawn to Islam and makes them want to be good Muslims. But I mean, that comes with like examples. So may Allah allow us to be the best example for our son.
Right. Which kind of leads to my next fear, is that I won't be a good enough example, right? Like you want your child to be better than you, right? But the only way that your child is going to be better than you is if you become a better person, so that you can be a better example for them. Because your children, your offspring, will naturally try and find errors in what you do and try to improve upon the errors they see. So if you're almost infallible, then they'll still find ways to find your fallacies and improve on those.
Hopefully,
so,
inshallah.
So inshallah, you know, I'm able to improve myself so I can be a good example for my child as well.
I'm like really afraid of the whole delivery and labor. Not so much the pain. I mean, the pain stuff that does scare me, but like the whole possibility of something going wrong and like having the baby, like Allah forbid, may Allah protect our son, give me an easy and safe delivery labor. I mean, but like the thought of losing my son during labor is like completely heartbreaking. So I'm afraid of like something happening with the baby, or like something happening with me, and then like leaving Amir and the baby alone, you know.
Yeah.
So that's a really big fear of mine.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. Like, what would I do if I lost Kamara? You know, it's like, it's something that you kind of gotta, it's something that you have to consider when you're having a child, right?
Yeah,
like
you have to
prepare. You have to prepare yourself for A, you know, losing your wife, or B, losing your child, right? And being able to cope with that, right? Like, so, you know, Allah, you know, may Allah allow us to have our child, and may Allah allow him to come safely. But I mean, if something or a complication is to happen, you have to understand that that's qadr Allah, and you know, you'll, inshallah, in the future, you'll be able to have a child again.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, I mean, like when you think about it, it's a really sad thing, but at the same time, what brings me comfort about like the situation, like if something were to happen to Suli, right?
Yeah.
May Allah protect him. I mean, give him a long, healthy life. But if something were to happen to him during delivery, then it's like, you know, Allah tells us that the baby who dies will drag its mother to Jannah will drag its parents to Jannah by the umbilical cord. So, like, that's comforting to know that, you know, being dragged to Jannah, that's cool.
Aside from that, another thing I'm afraid of is that I'm gonna put too much pressure on my kid. I mean, I'm a pretty ambitious guy myself. I like to push myself. I like to, you know, try and do my best to overachieve and be successful in what I do. And I want my son to be successful as well. So naturally, I'm going to pressure him. I'm going to push him to be the best that he can be. But I hope that I don't push my child too much.
Yeah, and I'm opposite. For me, it's like, oh, I tried, and if it happens, cool. You know, like I don't stress myself out. I don't push myself, which, I mean, I think honestly, sometimes I think I should probably push my limits, but you know, so I think hopefully like me being how I am and Amir is being how he is, hopefully will bring like a balance to Suli's life and be able to create an environment where he like believes in himself and wants to do without feeling like he is pressured to like you know, be an overachiever. Another fear that I have is like I'm afraid of what life would be like when we come back from the hospital, because it's just going to be, most likely it's just going to be Amir and myself and the baby. So we don't have family out here who are able to help us. And that's kind of scary just because it's like, I don't know. It's just,
I don't know. For me, it's
scary.
like, I appreciate the help, but I mean, at some point, you gotta be a grown up and an adult, right? And you gotta handle your business. You don't have too many people in your life aside from your friends and family, but it's not like they're there every day,
Yeah.
So it's like I'm kind of excited for
the challenge.
The challenge, yeah. I'm excited,
Yeah, it's scary because it's like it's something that's completely different, and it's like, yeah, both of us are older siblings and both of us have experience with a baby, but dealing with like something that is our own, like our own responsibility.
Yeah.
Like we have the responsibility to protect this child, and it's like in every way possible, emotionally, physically, mentally, Islamically, and it's like bringing that responsibility home from the hospital.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
Yeah, that's another thing that kind of, that frightens me is just like, Kamara is like very clumsy and things like that. So sometimes,
do you think I'm gonna drop the baby?
Sometimes I'm just afraid to like imagine the baby with Kamara alone. It's just like I don't know what she's gonna do. Like what's gonna happen? Like, oh, we were playing and his arm is broken. Like,
First off, it is completely normal for a kid to break their arm. I broke my arm twice.
Yeah, I never broke my arm. My mom had 8 kids. None of us have ever broken a bone.
Okay, well, we have a lot of kids, and almost everybody broke a bone.
Oh, hey, gotta talk to your parents about that.
Okay, so another fear that I have is, okay, so I'm afraid of being too like protective of Sully. Like I want him to be able to explore his surroundings, and I want him to be able to test his limits, like physically, to be able to say, you know what, I want to climb this tree. Let me climb this tree,
Yeah.
Like I climbed trees. One time I jumped off like a roof of a playground, sprained my ankle. I didn't tell my mom because I knew she was going to whoop me. But I want Sully to be able to feel comfortable to do those things and feel confident that, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I could like, so I'm afraid that I'm going to try to stop him every time he tries to explore his surroundings.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to provide an environment that's like safe for him to do it, but like where I don't have to keep saying, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that,
Yeah. I've been struggling with, a fear that I have is having an effective way of actually disciplining your child, right? Like I want, everyone wants their children to respect them, but I don't really believe in beating your child. I think that's something that's it's never mentioned in the Quran. Like in Islam, we're not like violent, right? And so we're not like in Islam we're not abusive within our relationships, especially with our family and our friends, things like that, right? So I think that whooping your child is something that came about from slavery, and I think that it still affects us today. I think that's why a lot of individuals in the Black community, especially, their parents all whoop them like with belts, and individuals in the white community, right, their parents don't beat them. But the thing is, like, I feel like white parents don't demand, so some of them don't demand enough respect, and their kids are super disrespectful to them, right? So it's like there's certain things that I can't stand for, right? So it's like I'm struggling to find a good way to actually discipline my child without beating them, which is something that I'm not going to do.
Yeah, I think before I began my educational journey in early childhood education, I didn't understand appropriate methods of talking to and disciplining children. And like when before I got into the field, my automatic response was like, oh yeah, you got to whoop a kid. Like they do something, you got to whoop a kid. But then when you actually understand children, you understand like their development and their milestones that they do. You understand like why they do the things that they do. And it's easy to intervene and be able to actually talk to a child. Because children understand. You just have to have the patience to be able to speak to them and explain what is going on. So I'm glad that I was able to have the opportunity to, learn these things so I can use that for like our child when it comes to disciplining.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy explaining things to kids in a way that, get them to understand why certain behavior is not acceptable.
Yeah.
So that's fun. Like toddlers. I like talking to toddlers. They're fun. A fear that I have is feeling like Amir and I, like our relationship would change. Like I'm afraid of how that would happen. It's been basically almost, by the time we have Sulu, it'll be 4.5 years, almost 5. So I'm afraid that, this change would be something drastic and like our relationship would be different because I will give so much attention to Suli and my focus would be on Suli. And I'm also afraid that I'm going to talk to Amir like he's dumb and I'm going to talk to him like he doesn't understand our child. Because it's like, I don't want to be like, oh, well, I studied this, so I know better than you. And, and I'm afraid that I'm going to be like, no, Amir, you can't do that because you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm just afraid of how I'm going to react to certain things when it comes to dealing with our child. And I'm afraid that like my reaction will affect our marriage.
Here's the last thing that I had that I was afraid of is that our child is just going to be too much like Kamara.
Okay, but when you say that, what do you mean? I want to know, like, specifically.
There's certain things that, like for instance, like.
Okay, organization. I know.
Like not being organized.
Yeah.
Like not cleaning up while you're cooking. You know, or like not wiping down the counters after you cook. Yeah. Things like that. Like there's certain things that I'm like, man, if my son does this, I'm gonna be pissed.
I see that. Yeah, I see that.
Just things like that. So it's like too much whining,
I whine. I don't whine.
Oh my God, babe. Ugh.
I don't whine.
So it's just a few things that I'm like, man, Ya Allah, please protect my child from taking these traits from my wife. And because I have to deal with this child for, the rest of my life because he's a part of me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to really like, be upset with him all the time.
Because he's like me?
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, I do agree because there are things that I definitely don't want Suli to take on. And, but I also don't want to raise Suli in a way where he becomes a narcissist. Because sometimes Amir says things and I'm like, nah, that's how you raise a narcissist. And we're not raising a narcissistic boy because we don't need any more of those in the world. So
narcissist as in, explain to some of these people what narcissism is.
Okay, so like a person who is very entitled, they believe everything should be done for them. They're like, they think they're very arrogant, they think the world revolves around them and they don't understand why they can't get their way.
I can see that, but I mean,
you can see that happening. You can see Suli being a narcissist.
No, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. It's just that, when you have confidence, it's just, you have confidence. And there's some people, like, I feel like those who don't have as much confidence as others see them as narcissists.
No, there's legit a difference between freaking narcissistic and having confidence. You can have confidence and be humble. You can have confidence and not be a freaking douchebag.
And I like to point out that women have a very a higher radar for narcissism than men do. Because
the majority of narcissists are men. Legit. 90% of narcissists are men. That's why.
I mean, the thing is, men aren't seeing this, and it's
because they're narcissistic.
So it's like I don't know, like, hey, it's like, hey.
No, like legit. Okay, you are not a narcissist. Alhamdulillah. Like, you're not. I appreciate the fact that you're not. But the things you say, like, oh, you know, to protect Sully from ever having a heartbreak, let's teach him that he's like the best thing in the world and he doesn't need to be sad about, you know, having his heart broken. Like, no, I don't want Sully to think like, oh, I'm like the very best. And
what if he is?
Amir, no.
Sometimes, listen.
Humility is so important.
Humility is important, right? But like, think about it. If you're Steph Curry and you're the best shooter in basketball, right?
Okay, but Steph Curry definitely does not come off as narcissistic and arrogant, though.
I mean, he doesn't, but you've never met the guy.
No, okay, I've never met freaking Mayweather either, and he is super arrogant. And McGregor. They're both arrogant, and it comes off. I
mean, they're the best at what they... Well, McGregor is not really the best, but...
He's super arrogant.
Listen, Floyd is the best at what he does.
It does not mean you have to be arrogant.
It doesn't, but when people are attacking you and attacking, like, how great you are, you know, it's like...
No.
You blow it off. No. It's like, I'm the best.
No. He cannot have that type of arrogance.
If you're the greatest... You're the greatest. Even Muhammad Ali, right? One of the, you know, he had a loved by Muslims, loved by the world, right? You think, was he not arrogant in his time?
He was super arrogant.
And people loved him.
It's not about
so there's
love.
Nothing. So then look. There's nothing wrong. It is
because the Prophet says those who have an ounce of arrogance and pride. I don't want him to have an ounce of arrogance and pride because they're not going to be able to enter Jannah. So I want him to be able to have, you know, humility and humble himself and be able to humble himself before Allah and be able to admit when things happen, like when things are wrong, you know.
So it's just like that statement's just a little. It's a little interesting, right? Like. Okay, so do you have pride in Islam?
Amir, that's not what. Oh, yes.
You have pride in Islam?
Yes.
Astaghfirullah.
Being proud of being a Muslim is different.
It's pride.
It's different than being. No, it's different.
Pride. Oh my God.
No, like arrogance. See, exactly. People were saying arrogance is annoying. It is so annoying, and I don't want to be arrogant.
So like, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but this is the argument that people present is very flawed. You know, it's like arrogance is up to your interpretation of it, right? Like you feel like someone's being arrogant, but everyone doesn't feel like that person's arrogant, right? Like people loved Muhammad Ali. Like some people thought he was arrogant. Others didn't think he was arrogant.
I'm pretty sure everybody agreed that Muhammad Ali was arrogant. I'm pretty sure it's like
he was just confident
an agreement that this dude was arrogant. I mean, okay, Muhammad Ali, at the end of the day, he always put like Allah before him. So he always humbled himself, you know? Like he always said, I'm like basically nothing without Allah. Allah gives me this. Mm-hmm. So he contributes his stuff, but you know, like this word, look, Shaitan, he was arrogant. He put himself above Adam. Look where that ended him. Arrogance does not lead to good, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so automatically, I think boys go through a phase where they just become super arrogant between the ages of 9, and it lasts all the way up until they're like 25. Like, they're like arrogant for a long time for no reason. So it's like, I know Sully's going to go through a stage, but I want him to be able to say, like, to admit that things don't always have to go his way.
I mean, just because you're the best doesn't mean you have to be arrogant.
Exactly. I have no problem with teaching Sully self-confidence, you know?
That's all I'm saying.
I have no problem with that. I think he needs to be confident, you know? Yeah. But to teach him this extreme confidence, it's like, you know, I don't want him to gain this arrogance and this narcissist where he starts, you know, becoming this horrible person, you know?
At the end of the day, I think that instilling confidence in the child will be of the utmost importance.
Exactly. I do too. I think confidence is important.
And so Sully will be a confident individual, inshallah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad you agree with me.
I do agree with you because that is important for him to be able to gain confidence.
Basically, all right. So, alhamdulillah, we've shared our fears
Wait, I had a couple more fears.
You have more?
Yeah, I'm afraid of not being able to breastfeed. I'm afraid of my child falling into major sins. I'm afraid that my son won't tell me when something's wrong or when somebody hurt him. Like, I was reading, not only articles I read online about freaking middle school teachers who sexually abuse students. Like, these crazy white women over there sleeping with these students.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, if I found that out, that somebody...
You know what we have to do as parents? We have to teach our kids that teachers are disgusting. Like,
how can you do that? I'm a teacher.
Listen, if you teach your kids that like they're good for teaching you and you know you can do this, but they are nasty people.
I was thinking the other day, you teach your child that whenever they're alone with somebody, they need to always record the interaction. Always have that interaction recorded, whether it's a principal, a teacher, an imam, a mentor, everybody.
Teachers and coaches.
And coaches especially. I was just reading this article about this Bangladeshi student who was abused by her principal in Islamic school. Anyway, his followers ended up setting her on fire and killing her. SubhanAllah. Because she wouldn't recant her sexual abuse allegations. Yeah. So, like, whenever you're alone with somebody, I want him to know, pull out your phone and record it. Because you can't trust people just because they say like, you know, they're Muslim and they try to teach you, like, even if someone like a Quran teacher, no way. Recording is always going to be done. If we have like a separate room, like a library room, best believe there's going to be like a nanny cam in there because I don't trust anybody. Yeah. I don't trust nobody.
You can't.
You can't. Too many crazy stories out there. People need to fear Allah. Let's see. Oh, I'm afraid that we'll start arguing and then we'll argue in front of our kid. Because we don't really argue now. I don't really consider like what we just did about arrogance arguing, you know? But I'm afraid that if we do start arguing, we'll do it in front of
Suli.
Yeah, in front of Suli, and then it's not like as a child, seeing your parents argue is very scary and it makes you anxious, you know? So I don't ever want to argue in front of him, and I don't want to yell at him. And I'm afraid that I may be that type. I mean, even though if like when I ever yelled at my students, it was always under extreme pressure, and I always apologized immediately for it. Yeah. Because you could tell it made them really sad. So I always want to make sure that I say sorry to him. Because adults, he needs to know that adults have to hold themselves accountable for the wrong that they do.
Right. So like if we ever get, you know, we get into an argument or something, you'll be like, sorry, Suli, mommy made a mistake.
What makes you think it'll be my fault if we get into an argument?
Because I'm not making no mistakes.
The problem is the problem we have with arrogance. If we ever get in an argument in front of Suli, we both have to apologize. Because it takes two to argue. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but you have to do it first. Because he needs to see that a man apologizes. Yeah?
No, I'm not going to say it. All right.
Were you going to say something like he needs to see women be submissive or something? Were you going to say something crazy like that? My poor babe.
Yeah, a little sick.
Okay, I think that sums up our fears, and that was about like 30 minutes. Yeah. So that was pretty good.
I mean, if we had made a video of it, it probably would have only been about 10 or 15. It's because we rambled in the middle about what was it? What were we talking about?
Arrogance.
Arrogance, yeah. So basically, you know, when we record our videos, you know, sometimes we do get into discussions like that, and you guys just don't see them.
Yeah, because we get in a lot of discussions like that.
Because when you're for YouTube, right? Videos need to pretty much be 15 minutes or below. Otherwise, most people won't watch it. Yeah. So we try to keep the videos that we post under 15 minutes and try to keep it the videos more concise. But when you're doing a live video, sometimes, I mean, you guys hear it all.
Yeah.
The good and the bad and the mishaps.
The stumbles.
It's a very organic,
raw moment of us, because this is how we talk to each other all the time.
Inshallah.
But
inshallah, at the end of the day, may Allah make us good, allow us to be good parents. May Allah allow Suli to come safely. May Allah make it easy for all of the parents and the individuals trying to have children. Ameen.
So that pretty much concludes the fear. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, then we could go ahead and do like a question and answer thing. Are you using that? Can you pass me that pillow? I need to put it on my back.
Yeah.
I think instead of arguing, parents should come down and have a discussion with respect. Yeah, I mean, but I feel like that's easier said than done, If you're the type to always argue, then having, like, one does not have us, like, simply have a peaceful, respectful discussion if they're not used to practicing that, Well, Kamar, how do you feel? Are your hormones still making you cry so much? Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. It was funny. I didn't tell you this, but the other night, like, for some reason, I convinced myself that Amir didn't like me anymore. And then I basically just started crying. I was like, why am I? I was like, I know he still likes me. I know he still likes me. Like, it was this completely irrational fear that you didn't like me anymore. And I was like, he doesn't, like, there's this little voice, he doesn't like you. And I was like, no, he does. He still likes me. And then you were like knocked out asleep. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I keep crying so loud, I'm going to wake him up. I was like, maybe I should go cry in the living room. But I ended up crying myself to sleep. And I woke up the next day laughing at myself because I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is wrong with me?
How do you, Amir, how do you react when she cries over anything, if she does? Kamara actually doesn't cry in front of me.
No, the whole time we've been married, I cried one time in front of you.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I had to get my surgery because I was freaking out.
Yeah.
But I don't cry. I don't cry in front of Amir because I have the ugliest crying face ever. Some people, when they cry, they're super cute. You're like, oh my gosh. Like, my wife is so cute. My wife is so adorable. When I cry, it's like, ugh, go fix your face. Like, you are ugly. So I don't cry in front of him. I go cry by myself and I come back and I tell him why I was crying.
Let's see.
Are you gonna make other oh my gosh videos? I don't know. Maybe I'll make like oh my gosh mommy edition videos. Do y'all put honesty over emotions because of love?
You're welcome, cute cake. What?
Oh, no, I think they're having like another discussion. And no, I don't have cravings. Wait, do y'all put honesty over emotions because of love?
Honesty over emotion. Honesty over emotion. I don't know
what that means. Like, what does that mean?
I don't know. I feel like honesty over emotion would apply to people who are like in a relationship where they're kind of inconsistent and like talking to other people or something like that, maybe. But we don't do any of that. So we can be honest and love each other at the same time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying in terms of honesty over emotion, like having to hide things to spare your spouse's emotional state. I mean, you could be honest and still love your spouse.
Yeah.
Like, you could be honest and still say things in a way that don't hurt your spouse, But yeah.
Let's see.
What's the worst thing about pregnancy? I don't like to label things in pregnancy as like the worst thing just because it's like, alhamdulillah, pregnancy is a blessing. But the most uncomfortable thing right now about pregnancy is having to use the bathroom all the time. That's about it. To Amir, since you disagree with Kamara about arrogance and narcissism in a child, how would you describe when your child becomes arrogant or a narcissist? Honestly, babe,
I mean,
I think you
I
are
think,
for that challenge.
yeah, I mean, it depends on. See, like I said, arrogance and narcissism is what is it? It's subjective. So um, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, if he gets too arrogant, you know, there's a lot of workouts he can do to bring him back down to earth.
Humble him.
Yeah.
Instead of making it get to that point, you know.
Yeah, you know,
you
I
could
can
just...
take him on an 11-mile hike, and then you know he'll be humbled. I'll take it. I'll take a video of him, and then every time he gets out of line, I'm like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
That's you.
Struggling.
Yeah. Oh.
You're so funny. Actually,
All
narcissistic
right.
behavior has certain criteria. Yeah, I mean, like real narcissists, it's a real thing, you know? But I'm talking about, you know, arrogance in general and being borderline narcissists and stuff like that. Salam, what are some tips y'all have for finding a spouse? I'm currently 20 and will graduate soon from undergrad. I mean, you're young. You're young. There's no rush in trying to get married, honestly.
Is that a guy? Is that a guy or a girl?
I don't know.
Oh, I think maybe some tips I would have is that if you have like if you had an MSA at your school or something like that,
He's a guy.
If you had an MSA at your school, it would have been great to really be a part of your MSA and get to know the people there, because you know you could have lasting friendships, and then maybe you can find a spouse through that.
Oh yeah, finding connections, because no one gets married to MSA.
Yeah, no one really gets married through the MSA, but you can get married like. Well, no one usually gets married within the MSA.
Yeah.
But you can get married through the MSA.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then also,
you just have an MSA.
People in your community. You know, depending on the community you're from, right? You might be able to marry someone that you've always liked from your local masjid, because there's always someone, right? There's always some girl or some guy that you've liked for a long time and went to your masjid usually. And you know, maybe that person, she's not married, you're not married, and you're like, yo, I just got this degree, I'm making money.
Yeah, that's how it happens. But yeah, that's good. That's good advice. But I like this one. It says, do you have any advice for me? I'm kind of scared of love, like being in a relationship or just showing affection to anybody. It's really just a struggle for me. Honestly, you don't need to show love and affection before marriage. You don't need to do that, and it's not something that you should do. It's a way that you guard yourself from getting hurt. And I mean, love comes after marriage. So in the process of talking to somebody, you don't need to do all this lovey-dovey romantic stuff. I know with Amir, like, listen, the only compliment he gave me in our courting process was that I was a pretty cool person, you know. Like, that was the only compliment. And then after we got married, alhamdulillah, the compliments start coming in, and then we start showing affection towards each other. But during that process time, it was like, let me get to know you. Let me see if I could trust you before giving you this affection. Like, why do you deserve my affection? You know, like, I didn't deserve his affection. He didn't deserve mine before we got married, you know? So you don't need to give it to somebody. Just wait till after you get married. And I mean, well, that's just my personal opinion, at least, you know? I think it's easier to share.
All right, so like someone says I got to go.
Oh, thank you for joining in. But yeah, so I think it's easier to open yourself up to someone that you know who was really committed to you, instead of just like, oh yeah, let's just see where this goes. You know, those people who are like, let's just see where this goes, they're not committed. They're playing games. I mean, struggle to do it with anybody, even with my friends and family. Oh, maybe you should talk to somebody about it. Like, maybe you should talk to like a therapist, you know? Because maybe the reason why you're afraid to show love is because of past traumas or something that you may not even be aware of. And it's important to be able to understand yourself and why you cannot, you know what I'm saying, babe? Yeah, I think talking to somebody is very important. Thank you both for this channel, because we really need young people to look at us more like that look like us more and really try to be on the dean. I'm glad that people are benefiting from like our videos and specifically Marriage Mondays. When people see us, you know, it's always like Marriage Mondays. Like, oh, I'm not married, but I watched Marriage Mondays.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Which is like, I feel really bad.
We've got a lot of content. It's been slowing down a bit, but inshallah, we'll be able to pick it up.
Yeah, it's just been kind of difficult with scheduling and.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, but we'll try. I don't know. It may get worse when the baby comes, though. I don't know.
Hard to get it quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Do you think homeschooling is an option or a consider? I don't know. I was homeschooled, and I don't
think homeschooling allows your child to be social enough. Like a lot of the homeschool children that I know are very antisocial, and you cannot succeed in life if you can't speak. It's horrible.
Yeah, homeschool.
But then there are some that do well, right? But I would say a majority of the children who are homeschooled struggle. Yeah,
I was homeschooled from middle school all the way to high school, and that impacted me a lot. Like, I'm so socially awkward. Still, I'm socially awkward, and I don't want to put my kid through that. And I know, like, academically, you know, if you homeschool your kid, then, you know, they'll be able to get more. But I feel like you could tutor your child in a public school setting, and then, you know, that kind of makes up for that. But I wouldn't do homeschooling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did y'all meet through arranged marriage or different? I'm just curious. I would say it was arranged.
No, I mean it
was a blind date.
It's like a family friend type thing, like
that arranged it, and they said that we had to see each other.
Yeah, I didn't want to see her.
I didn't want to see him either.
It just happened.
Yeah, I think that's why it's considered an arranged marriage, babe, because the meeting was arranged.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, all meetings are arranged.
No, some. Oh, okay, technically, you can see somebody at a coffee shop and you can arrange your meeting to go out to dinner or something. Yeah. But.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Oh, you had eyelash, and it's been bothering me for so long. Got it. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, he's just so extreme. All meetings are arranged. You're very technical. Very technical.
I mean, the English language is very technical according to the GMAT.
That's funny. How to deal with procrastination? I don't know, but when you find out, let me know. Let me know. I was homeschooled and it worked for me. So you were homeschooled and you're not socially awkward at all. I feel like if you have a big family, homeschooling is great. There's a lot of YouTube channels that do this. I feel like their kids are well behaved and also very articulate. Yes, okay, homeschooling has its benefits, but I'm telling you, children who are so used to being around each other, siblings, like my siblings, we're all homeschooled together. We do not associate outside of, you're an introvert, exactly. Homeschooling does not produce extroverts. Homeschooling does not produce social butterflies. Homeschooling socially cripples people. And that is the truth. Educational wise, there's a lot of benefits, but you could be really smart, right? But if you don't know how to speak in a meeting, you are not going to progress in a business. You're not going to get high in a company if you don't know how to, talk to other people and be charismatic,
Yeah.
Being charismatic is very important in everything you do. You can even getting a job at a coffee shop, Yeah. You become a manager real quick if you're charismatic. Mm-hmm. Real quick. No one cares if you can do 2 + 2. But if you can smile and make people buy things,
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you stressed out about the basketball game?
No, I'm tired. I am tired.
Okay, we'll have a couple of minutes and then we can end it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to end it in about 5 minutes. That sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Poor guy. What type of names are you guys considering? Like the names of Sahaba, prophets, or just names you like? Yeah, we have a name. We call him Suli right now. I used to watch Marriage Mondays before I got married when I was engaged. And in that, oh my God, should I do this phase? And you two made me think, this marriage thing looks like fun. Well, disclaimer, in most of our videos, we say, marriage is not easy. We don't want to be liable for making you think like marriage is fun.
Marriage fun.
Can be fun, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not all fun and games. Like, you just left me for so long.
I've been having fun.
Because you keep leaving me.
Listen, man.
Because you're hanging with your friends, that's why you're having fun. You're not fun.
Listen, you have to, when you get married, you have to be able to enjoy life, and I still enjoy life, I don't go to the club or anything like that.
No, you're just going 11-mile hikes.
I go on hikes, I work out, I go study, I learn, and then I do things with my wife. I go to work as well, make money, pay bills, unfortunately.
Yeah, darn bills.
Yeah.
Bills take up all of our stuff.
But, yeah, life is good. Alhamdulillah.
How do you learn to compromise yourself in marriage? Sometimes people are afraid to speak out because they feel like they might not be respected or feel like they are coming across as a bully. Any advice? I think that really, really happens in the first couple of years of marriage, just because you're still getting comfortable with your role as a spouse and you're still getting comfortable with your spouse. But honestly, communication is the key. Even if you're afraid to voice your opinion, like, find ways to say things no matter what. Like, if your spouse does something that you feel like isn't fair, then you need to voice that. You need to say, like, hey, you know what? How about we take in consideration how I feel, and I will take in consideration how you feel, and then we find a way where it's like balanced, You don't want to do things that are just one-sided, where only one person benefits from all the decisions that are being made, Homeschooling in this generation is way different. Parents link up with other homeschooling kids.
Yeah, so then they can
a whole bunch of weird people together.
They all look like Amish people walking to.
I am telling you, no matter what, seeing the same people every day, okay, experiencing the same experiences every day.
Right, you don't even experience you don't experience how to like deal with different types of people, right?
Yeah.
Like there's you have to deal with the guy who thinks he's the greatest. You got to deal with the person who's really low, always depressed, emo. You have all those people in your class. Who come from different backgrounds. It teaches you how to respect people who have less than you or more than you.
Mm-hmm. Just being exposed to new cultures.
A lot of benefits,
Yeah, public school is like a mosh pit, not a mosh pit, what is it? Is it a mash pit?
The one thing I will say is that it's just like you have to with homeschool, you have to help your children with certain things, and then with public schools, you have to help your children with some certain things, right? If you send your child to a public school, you're going to have to do a lot of extra education at home. Right.
If you're doing homeschool, you're doing extra education at home.
Yeah. So it's like, at least you could get a break from them.
Yeah.
Parents need breaks.
True. Yeah. And I'm not the type of person, I will teach child up until they're 5 years old. Okay. That's where my education, interest stops. Mine's early childhood education, not elementary education. I don't like kids like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like younger kids. So when my kids are 5 and up, best believe they're going to kindergarten, Obviously, if we're not an interracial couple, that just stuck out to me. Mm-hmm. We're not an interracial couple. I'm just melanin deficient. I have this condition where my melanin didn't flourish because of my genes as being half European. So Yeah. Mosh pit? It's not a mosh pit. No, I don't think so.
A mosh pit?
Is it a mosh
what are you
pit?
Talking about?
A whole bunch of things together. Is it mosh pit? I feel like that's not what I want to say though.
Isn't a mosh pit like some type of party or something?
Yes, but is it called a mosh pit because they're all together? Or is it called a mosh pit because they're all like in this weird fighting thing doing things together? Anyway, but a whole bunch of people together, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you know. Melting pot. That's what it is. That is what it is. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
A public school is a melting pot of all of these different cultures and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're only surrounded by the same mothers and same children, and like people are like, moms are super like weird, you know? They like to pick and choose their family, like their kids' friends, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to be with somebody who feels like, yeah, you know, you're good enough to hang out with my kids. So you're the, like, you know, that's just like, you know, I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
You know? And what if your kid doesn't even like them?
Right. He just has to hang out with them all the time.
Yeah. Like, how annoying is that? Being forced to hang out with somebody weird because they're the only person you know.
Yeah. What if your kid's kind of normal and then you're just having them hang out with a weirdo all the time?
Yeah.
You know, who wants to experience that?
Yeah. Nobody. What is the birth at home? I would not.
Yeah,
like
we have
an
apartment. I don't think that's in the contract that we signed.
Yes. That's not something that I feel like I could do. I don't think I could give birth at home. I mean, I know a lot of people say there's more benefit giving birth at home than hospitals because, you know, but this is my first pregnancy, you know. I don't know what's going to happen. I would rather go to a hospital. One day a water birth though, you know. Mm-hmm. Inshallah. But okay, we're going to let Amir go to sleep because as you see, he's not even here right now. He's gone. He's in his own little world. His body's shutting down slowly. And he needs
I'm just trying to keep my head up, to be honest.
Yeah, he needs to go to sleep because he needs to go to sleep. So thank you for tuning in on our live where we talked about our fears and answered some questions. I hope that we could start doing lives more often. But the way Amir runs away on the weekends and goes on like 11-mile hikes, I don't know.
Yeah, lives are easier to be consistent with than probably videos.
Lives are easier to be consistent with because there's no editing involved.
Yeah, you just
speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Nah, we gotta provide like some like concise content.
I don't know. We're not very consistent people, babe, and I think you know that's just us. That's just how we are. We're just real people with real problems. Like. We just can't do things on time. We got real problems. Okay.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Us.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.